Hey, Seeker, welcome to the Awakening Her podcast. I am so grateful that you've been led here, and I'm excited for you that you're answering the call to manifest more magic in your life by mastering the law of attraction. So cool. My name is Talia, and I'm committed to cutting the fluff and showing you exactly how to manifest more excitement, ease, success, abundance, confidence, love, and anything else you've been craving. So if you're ready to crack the code on manifestation, amplify your intuition, and play in the quantum, we are now besties. Let's do this. Hello. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How's it going today, friends? My name is Talia Joy. If you're new here, welcome. Welcome to my magical, mystical, mystery ride corner of the internet. I am so glad you're here. On this show, we talk about all things transformation, manifestation, how to become the vision of yourself or the version of yourself that you see in your mind's eye, how to create a life of freedom, abundance, health, vitality, purpose, all the things. That is what we talk about here on the show. And I'm so happy you're here. If you don't know, I have a second podcast. It's called On the Path. And this is a subscription podcast where we're breaking down the work into bite-sized chunks. I'm basically speaking to you as if you are my client, breaking it down in manageable chunks so that you can truly be moving forward every single week. So there's weekly episodes and deep dives and monthly challenges, and there's meditations. You also have access to my entire methodology. There's 20 plus core trainings and tools right at the beginning of the show, so you can go through the process of manifestation and transformation on your own, while also having the weekly support and constant flow of meditations and assignments and hacks that you can do to change your life quickly. So if you're ready to be on the path and create a daily practice and really lean in and do the work, check out On the Path. I'm really excited to welcome you in. It is such a fun community, and we're just having a great time changing our lives, doing the work. It's incredible. So it's a monthly subscription. You can come for as long as you want and cancel at any time if it's not your cup of tea. But I know you're going to love the broken down, tangible nature of that show. It's so fun. So in addition to that, what other foreplay do I have? Just come over and find me on Instagram. I would love to get to know you. I'm posting all the time, going live, doing stories and reels and all those Instagram things. So you can come find me at Talia Joy Manifestation. The link for that and everything else I talk about is below. The show notes are hefty, including access to the Freebie Library and lots of other places down there to get you started. So let's dive into this episode. As I said, I have created space for what wants to come forward. I have my notes, I have my general outline, but really I just want to jam out about the universe and why we're here and how this experience works, because it's really time that more of us fully awaken to our full potential. And the way that I see it, it's my truth that when we understand more, it empowers us to make different decisions, right? It's not just go do this thing because you should. It's understanding why and how this experience works. And you also get to see that it's not bias. It's not that like you're too messed up to do it or you're too weak or given what you've been through, you can't do X, Y, Z. The universe responds to energy, not even to how good or bad of a person you are, which is the unfortunate part about why narcissists or quote unquote bad people, not that all narcissists are bad people, but why people like that can manifest millions. And first of all, for narcissists, they believe, and we're going to get all into this, but they believe they are worthy of it. They don't care what it takes. They are going to step on toes. They often care not at all about other people's emotions, which is why people are like, oh, narcissist. But really, for manifestation, it's very focused and there's no problem with self-worth or, thinking you're deserving of something. So sometimes people like that can actually go on to create huge success, even if they're not a very good person. But that's not what we need to get into today, because you and I, we are good people. But really what I'm saying is nobody is excluded from the power of using the energies that create this universe. So what I mean by that is like, there's nobody here that's not deserving of breathing air. There's nobody here that, doesn't drink water. There's no one here that doesn't interact with the law of gravity, right? We are all in some ways here doing the same thing, operating through the same laws. It's just that we do have, of course, different life experiences, and some of us have more advantages, disadvantages. That is, of course, very real. But the thing I love about all this stuff in the universe and how this works is truly that no matter what you've been through, you absolutely can create millions, transformation, miraculous healing, changes in your life that you had no idea you could do. And it's not going to come from willpower. It's not going to come from motivation. It's going to come from your life force energy. And that is where we change our life. So this is what we're talking about. And I'm really excited about it. So first of all, well, that was first of all. Second of all, my son, actually, just really quick, my son's 4. And so he does this thing where out of nowhere, he'll be like, second of all, but he does it like with a B, like second of all. And then he'll say something and then he'll say, and first of all, like he has the backwards and he says ball. It's just the cutest thing. It's like, how are you so cute? Okay. So second of all, when we're interacting with these energies that I'm talking about, it's really helpful to know that there are universal laws at play. And universal laws are something that it almost makes me emotional to talk about. It's going to be a big part, I feel, of going forward, and I'm sure I'll be teaching it on a bigger scale in the future. But I have been studying this for almost just as long as I've been studying the law of attraction. So a lot of people find the law of attraction and they're not aware of the plethora of other laws that are at play. So the laws of the universe are not something that like a prophet said or an intuitive channeled, which that to me is even legit when someone has gifts, of course, because I, hear guidance all the time that I know is legit. But these aren't even from mystics. The laws of the universe are physics. This is how life works. This is how the universe works. And yes, the law of gravity is one of those laws. So the law of gravity is a law on Earth that it doesn't care if you're a good or bad person. It doesn't care what you've done. It doesn't even care if you believe in it. It's just going to do its thing. You jump off a building, which please don't do that, but you jump off a deck. Let's make it a little bit less aggressive. Okay. You jump off a little stepping stone. Okay, I just don't want anyone to get hurt. Gravity is going to do its thing. Whether you're a good person, whether you believe in it, that's why like a baby could fall over. They have no idea of gravity, right? It's non-bias. And those are the exact same thing with the other laws of the universe. So just understanding before I dive into the actual laws that I want to talk about today, understanding that we are in this energetic swirl pool, I'm going to call it, of different laws and different reactions and different swirling energies. There's timelines. There's the fact that you've been, in other lifetimes, that you're an old soul. You may be a star seed. Your soul might not have even originated on Earth. So no matter how much you're into this stuff or not, for me, this is how it works. And we don't even have to know, by the way, what star system you came from or all the things about your past lives. We're actually meant to be here now. However, the fullness of who we are is so much bigger than what we've all been told that we are. And it's not just like I'm a human, but oh yeah, I also have like an aura. Like we have an aura, we have an energy field. And then as I'm saying, we have past lives and different trajectories and different timelines and different aspects of our soul. And we have our spirit teams and all these different things going on, that it's actually quite fucking miraculous that you are here right now listening to this, who you are in this moment in time. Can you feel that? You have come so far to be thirsty for knowledge and wisdom and the ability to co-create, the ability to create abundance and freedom in your life, that you are now a seeker. You've probably been a seeker for a long time, but seeking this truth, it's because there's so much more to you than you have awareness of in this lifetime. Same with me. I know like a few of my past lives or, where my soul originated. Like I have had some clarity, or I know my human design type, but like when you think about it, there's just so many levels of who we are. So just recognizing that it's not all personal. And the more we get entangled in our emotions and start believing things like I can and I can't, we literally, like actually, physically restrict ourselves, because this universe is one of expansion and it's one of possibility. It's not a universe of contraction. And it's not a universe of like, there's no way this could happen. Like everything is possible. That's why they say like everything is possible with God or with spirit or with source. All is possible because we live in an unlimited universe. And part of this trick though is we are interacting with these different laws like gravity. So I would say, all is possible. And then someone might go, well, can I fly? And it's like, well, on this earth experience where we are right now in our consciousness and all of that, I don't believe that if you just believe you can fly enough, you could fly right now. Maybe in a while, maybe as we evolve, we will remember that skill again or something else, because we are working within the laws of the universe. One of the laws is, well, actually many laws talk about the mind. And one of them is actually called the law of mentality. And what this states is that what we believe is what we will perceive. And this is so freaking important, even if you've heard it before. Like open, open, open again, spread your toes, spread your nose, spread your ears, open up, hear it again. That you cannot receive something that you don't believe is possible for you. So this is where we get even more physical and go in our brain. There's something called the reticular activating system, and its job is to generalize, give meaning to, distort, delete, associate all the data that comes in. So the reticular activating system, as I say, is like filtering everything. It's kind of like the guard dog or the guard man that's kind of letting things pass and not. So I forget the exact metrics on how many bits of information we pick up on, but it's something like 200,000 bits. And like what actually goes through our reticular activating system is something like 100 bits like per second. So our reticular activating system, I won't go too far into this for any of you that are like boring science, physiology, anatomy, whatever you would call it. The reticular activating system's job is to only let in some information. So if you had your heart recently broken by a guy that drove a white Mustang, okay, so that happened. It was this big to-do only a couple weeks ago. You're brokenhearted and you're walking down the street and all of a sudden a car comes into view that looks like that white Mustang. Your heart starts racing. Your mind's like, oh my God, you get like that nervous system, like flush of adrenaline. It's a reaction. That was your reticular activating system going, wait a minute, I remember that car. Something bad could happen. Threat, threat, threat. And it might not even end up being the same type of car, but it really resembled it and your heart rate got up. That is because there's a lot of things, of course, at play there, but the brain part sees a car and gives it meaning, generalizes it to what it knows. So it goes like, oh, that looks like Darren's car or whatever. And you're like, oh my God, it's Darren's car. That's your brain. But maybe it wasn't even a Mustang. It's a totally different car. And when it gets up close, you realize in physical reality, that's not Darren. That's not even his car. But wow, your heart is pumping. That's because that's our freaking brain. That's our brain at work. So something I feel really passionate about talking about, and part of my upcoming work and a program that's being birthed and my book and everything, is really realizing the power of your mind. So your mind is such a small part of who you truly are as a human, right? Because you're an aura, you're a soul, you're a past life, this and that. Your brain and your head is like only the sliver of a human part of you. However, because of the reticular activating system and the different ways that our brain works, neural pathways and things like that, our brain will limit us or open us up to unlimited possibilities. And it is going to be what you believe. This is why all the greats, myself included, but Joe Dispenza or Wayne Dyer or Bruce Lipton or Gabby Bernstein or whoever, whether they're spiritual or they're more about the brain, epigenetics, what you focus on expands, what you perceive, you receive. There's so many ways to say it. So many people say it. There isn't any way to escape that. So part of this life, human experience this time around in this lifetime is learning. And I'm going to say something that kind of sounds a little bit, not harsh, but harsh for me because I'm all like squishy and sensitive. And I say this to myself, even I've said this to my husband lately, like in conversation, explaining it to him. You cannot manifest with a lazy brain. I don't say that at him, like, sweetie, you can't manifest with a lazy brain. It's not me. But truly. And what I mean by that is a lazy mind doesn't make change. When we go into the path of least resistance, when we go into the thought we've thought 100,000 times, it's not going to lead us to anything new. So if we want new results, we have to start perceiving and being and thinking differently. And even little incremental changes, because of the other laws that are at play, create massive results. That's why mindset is a thing. That's why people, try to think positively or do gratitude lists, not just because we should. It's because when you focus more on what you want than what you don't want, it just feels better. So now going into more of the woo-woo stuff, because of the law of attraction and because of the other laws at play, what we learn to perceive really starts to get manifested out very fast. So I'm going to use an example of a time when this is happening in a way we don't want. So I was brought up, I had some mom issues, some women issues, trust issues, that kind of thing. And I always had this narrative that like, I got along more with guys and I couldn't really I don't really resonate as much with girls and they're so dramatic and they stab you in the back. And this was a narrative in like my teenage years, early 20s. And so what did I see? That was always what my brain picked up on. Like, oh, she's catty, or like, oh, I couldn't trust her because of the reticular activating system, because of what I believe I perceive. And that was always my story until I did deeper healing work and started forgiving or releasing some of the resentment I had in those judgments. And all of a sudden I realized that's not true at all. Of course, some women are catty. Some men are catty. Of course, some people may stab you in the back. But to just generalize and pinch myself off, I was pinching myself off from having better girlfriends or connection or even being close with my bestie. Like there's ways where it's like your guard's up. My guard was up because of what I believed. So in order to create something different, we have to start to shift. So as I was on the healing journey, I actually had a time where I was like, I am open to badass connections with other women. And that went on to like joining group programs. And, even if when they're online, I'm like, oh, her, that's amazing. Finding connections. It's like we meet in person at an event and we find out we have the same birthday. And I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. And I'm finding all of these badass women. I have so many guests on this podcast that I sit there going like, this is an awesome conversation. And I love this woman. So I had to break that in order to experience something different. And that's because our brain does its thing, and then the law of attraction and the other laws take over, and it's all we can create. So the next thing I want to talk about is this download came in the other day. And guys, I can only share this with some people. Some people don't get it or they're not interested or it's totally fine. But this is the shit that I get like teary-eyed and geeky over. So I had a client and we're talking about the law of attraction. And she was asking me different questions about stuff. And then she's like, why spiritually does the law of attraction even exist? Like, why? And before I responded, I just sat and took a second and I tuned in. And what I heard from Source is the law of attraction exists because I love you. And I want you to know that you are always the deliberate creator of your experience. You are the center point. And I got like tears and goosebumps. And it was like, oh my goodness. The law of attraction is a divine law. Well, it's a physics law, but it's given to us by the creator to always remind us that we are the center point, that law of attraction states like attracts like. So what that means is who I am being and what I am thinking, believing, feeling, I will always attract more of the same. So as you raise your vibe, as you soften a little bit, as you feel a bit better, you start attracting podcasts that expand you or different conversations with people. Maybe the right program or book comes along, connections, new conversations. And that's why the better it gets, the better it gets. And I love to say that. That's an Abraham thing because momentum picks up and these small shifts change your life. And what a gift when you're when you're in the know, like you are now, and like I am, and like we are, when you're in the know, what a freaking gift. Because like I said at the beginning, no matter what you've been through, you can change now. Not changing you and who you are, changing the things you're experiencing right now that you don't want to experience. If you want more money, or if you want to build more connections, or you have a goal in mind, like we all do, that is the part that you can change at any moment. If you want to do yoga more, or you want to do kickboxing more, or you want to go on more hikes, or you want to make more money, or you want to do new things, you can do and attract new energy at any time. So the creator created the law of attraction as a law on earth so that we remember we're in charge. And this is the part where I want to go big again and say that as a soul on a journey, there's lots and lots and lots of lifetimes, perhaps most of them, that you have not perfected and like reached nirvana by the end of your life, right? Many lives that you died with either tragedy or struggle, or you just never forgave, or something. You kind of didn't figure it out. That's the life of a soul. We do that over and over until we become older souls. So every time you have a lifetime, you learn from the things that you didn't learn from. So how I see it, what happens sort of when you die. Yes, we're going there. This is jamming on the universe. What do you expect? We live this lifetime. We go through our stuff. When we die, everything is released, meaning all guilt, all shame, all earthly stuff, your ego, everything. You evaporate up into the clouds or whatever happens. And your essence, your soul, I believe, has a meeting with maybe your spirit team, God, whatever you want to call it, a general, get together and some sort of life review. You hear different people talking about, they'll call it like a life review. Ainsley McLeod talks about like you go to the boardroom with God and your team and you sit around and you go like, okay, how did that go? How did that lifetime go? And you have this opportunity to reflect. And because there's no judgment, because there's no shoulds or shouldn'ts, it's purely a reflection. And we go, okay, I started to do this. I started to wake up. I started to create a good life. But, I never let go of resentment toward my father or toward my mother or toward whatever. I died with that pain in my heart. And you know what? The next time I come back, I want to heal that. I don't want to do that again. I want to move on. So as a soul, just like you might say that in real life here in this lifetime, as a soul, you say the same thing. And then you come back into the next lifetime with the intention of moving yourself forward, of healing a thing that you didn't heal before. So the law of attraction is actually an aid for you to come back and create something different on a soul level, especially this time. If you're listening to this, you're an old soul, you're really in this lifetime for ascension, like your soul has intended for mega transformation in this lifetime, and you've already transformed so much. This is already happening. That's why you're drawn to things like law of attraction, so that you can remember more of how this experience works, wake up earlier, and hopefully find that bliss or that freedom or that magic before you pass away this time. So I didn't mean to get all morbid on you, but that's really truly the way that I see that it works. And this beautiful part about law of attraction is purely so that you can remember you're the creator. If you decide to be really negative and complain about a lot of things, I don't judge you, but you're going to create certain outcomes for yourself. If you choose that no matter what, like of course you have your down days, your up days, but no matter what, you're like, there must be a way, nothing's going to hold me back. You learn that your trauma and the things you've been through have actually taught you really valuable lessons in this lifetime for your soul, like deep wisdom learned from all that shit you've gone through. When you learn to see life differently, you create a different outcome for yourself. So the law of attraction is here to always be feedbacking on who you're being and what you're believing to hopefully call you forward. So that being said, I want to talk about a couple other laws of the universe, and we'll see. I might wrap this up after that. So you are a soul in a temporary human experience, right? And this soul has lived many lives, and you've learned with each lifetime. In this lifetime, you chose to come in and heal certain big things. That's why you suffered early in life. That's why you may have also suffered later in life as well, but early childhood trauma or things that happened, hard things. Maybe it was it was adversity or discrimination or some sort of deficit, and you've struggled. It's because your soul wants you to learn those quote unquote hard lessons early so that you can move on to transcendence, so that you can move on into remembering you're the deliberate creator and learning again those really valuable lessons. So in this, there's several laws that are really helpful to use when you're rising, when you're awakening, when you're stepping into more manifestation. So law of attraction is that first one. So this law is like attracts like, as I was saying, positive or negative thoughts, emotions, actions will bring more positive or negative experiences into your life. This is where you manifest from who you are being. So it might not mean that if you steal $1 from someone, someone's going to steal $1 from you, and it's not quite karma, because karma is almost a little bit bigger, but it is the same type of thing. If you go around, it's also very practical. If you go around being a curmudgeon, if you're grumpy and discriminatory and nasty, people are going to start to treat you that way, right? If you're in the workplace and you're just like negative Nancy or like, curmudgeonous Curtis, people start to respond to you different versus the like open-hearted office, lovey chatterbox or whatever. People warm up to that person because they're social and they're chatty and they're hilarious. But the person that's grumpy, people are going to be more closed off. This is the law of attraction in action. This is also, law of attraction is also where people say like birds of a feather flock together, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. It basically means you are going to attract more of who you're being, but more importantly, what you put your focus on. So you could be poor. It doesn't mean you're going to get poorer, especially if you learn how to shift your mindset into into seeing more abundance in your life rather than more lack of abundance. That's manifestation, right? So the law of attraction, like attracts like. The other thing to be aware of that's really fascinating is there's also the law of vibration that works very closely with the law of attraction. This is where people say like high vibes and we want to be high vibration. So everything in the universe vibrates at specific frequencies, including thoughts, including objects, including feelings. So when you match your vibration to the desires that you want or to what you want to feel, then the law of attraction takes over and brings more of the same to you. So the law of vibration is actually sort of how you use the law of attraction is by raising your vibration and starting to attract more like vibration things to you. So another thing I want to talk about is that law of mentality, which is also sometimes called the law of belief. And this is whatever you truly believe with feeling, with emotion, energy in motion, this becomes your reality. Your beliefs shape your reality. If you say over and over and over, I'm going to be alone forever, I hate to say it, but you're going to create that. And even if you find love, you could still feel alone. You can feel alone with 6 people in your house. So be really careful. And this is where we do want to do some limiting belief work and all of that kind of original work you probably started doing or started becoming aware of, is just looking which beliefs limit me. Which beliefs do I want to put out into the world, right? Like, oh, this is just going to get worse, or I can't move ahead because of the economy, or no one's going to love me because I'm unattractive. Like even the belief I'm unattractive makes you hold yourself in a certain way, has you come across in a certain way. And so when we start to shift those beliefs, which sometimes is healing work, reprogramming, all this is available on the path. You can go check it out. But all that stuff, then we start to shift our beliefs incrementally, and instantly, because of the law of attraction, we start attracting something different. Or because of the law of vibration, we raise our vibration as we shift those negative beliefs. The law of attraction takes over and we start creating something different. The other thing that I want to talk about, one of the other laws that I want to talk about, is the law of cause and effect. And this is Sometimes they say it's the law of karma. So, what this states is that every action has a corresponding reaction or consequence. So, there's a saying that every cause has an effect and every effect has a cause. So, this is the law that suggests nothing happens by chance, and it's all like a balancing the scales, like almost like a pendulum. It's all a cause and effect, cause and effect. So every belief has an effect. Every thought has an effect. Whether that effect feels good or not is, depending on what we're thinking or what it is. So a positive thought leads to another positive outcome. The cause has an effect. We have a positive thought. We feel even just like a little bit better for 10 seconds. And that compounds. We feel a little bit more, we feel better and better each day, even better. Law of attraction comes over. That positive thought now has a huge effect. But recognizing that everything has a cause and effect, and negative, pessimistic thoughts, not just the ones on a down day, give yourself that space. But this is just, again, these are just laws. So give yourself the space. Don't be hard on yourself. But on the other hand, just know that each time you say to yourself, I'm stupid, it has an effect. Every time you say to yourself, I probably won't get the job, or I can't do it, or I'm not strong enough, that has an effect. And I want you to really think about the law of cause and effect. And this is why we can take inspired action, and it almost doesn't matter if it's 100% the right action, because taking an action when you're trying, when you're in good faith, when you're doing what feels right in the moment and have no idea, even just taking that action has an effect. It has an effect because it shows the universe that you're showing up, that you're willing to put yourself out there and be brave. So even though that action, say you're starting a business and you first start a blog, but a blog doesn't end up being what you truly love to do, taking the action of the blog has an effect of still moving you forward. From there, you'll do the blog and maybe you'll find that you have crunchy energy, you don't like it, but then you discover podcasting and that leads you to podcasting. So the inspired action still led you to where you were kind of quote unquote meant to go. It's more about what you did had an effect. So act positively, act in the direction of your dreams. It will have an effect. And this is even the little things you do when you act in lack or you act in scarcity, realizing that also has a rebound effect. It's like a boomerang. It goes out and it will come back. And that's what karma is. Although how I see karma, you may have your own interpretation. And I learned a lot of it from Deepak Chopra as well. But how I see karma is it's more of like overall your lifetimes you have karma. So if there was a lifetime where you did a whole bunch of kind of quote unquote bad shit, you may have to in some ways like repent or act of service in another lifetime. But it's not just like right here immediate. Karma is more like the bigger cause and effect. But even in this lifetime, karma is going on, cause and effect is going on. And it's really important to understand that nothing is unnoticed by spirit. So don't allow that to put pressure on and make you feel like nervous. It's just law. It's like gravity, right? It's like, well, but I really don't want to fall if I jump off this building. It's like, well, don't jump off the building. It's nothing really to do. It's like, we're not hating you. It's just gravity, right? So really realizing that, like cause and effect. When you say something kind, it puts out good energy into the world. When you have a thought of gratitude, or you help someone out, or you give money to a charity that means a lot to you, or tip a server well that means a lot to you, like when you put something out, it will come back. So with this law of cause and effect, I'm going to encourage you to also play with it and put good vibes out into the world. So something I do with my business is I spend time each week going around to other businesses like Instagram accounts, podcasts, and I leave reviews on other podcasts because I appreciate it so much when someone leaves a review on my podcast. It actually goes really far. So I think of all the podcasts I really like to listen to and I go, have I ever written a review to show them I appreciate, to help them? Because I really appreciate it when people do it to me. So I do that, and it's not that I run over to my reviews and go like, oh, nobody did it this week. It's not with that much weight. It is a generous act because what you put out comes back, but I also love to support other entrepreneurs and other visionaries. So I don't do it just to get reviews. I just do it to be a good human and to put good energy out into the world to support others. Because when you support others, others will support you. When you give, when you're of service, you will be taken care of. It's the law of cause and effect. So there's so many other laws I could get into, but I'm going to start to wrap this up. So I really want you to understand that you are the deliberate creator of your experience and that you came here as a soul on a journey. And while you're here on earth, there's certain laws that are really helpful to know about because it frees you to work with energy and laws rather than thinking again like you're broken. So you may still go through the healing journey of, healing and reconciling what happened to you when you were a kid, because I don't want to bypass stuff. However, when you learn to work with these laws, it kind of takes you out of your head. Like thinking of the law of cause and effect. Like if I said to you, okay, today, every day, send 10 compliments out into the world. Text a friend, give it to the cashier or the person at the bank or a coworker. Just flood people that you feel genuinely deserve it. Just flood the world with compliments. Watch how many times you will get complimented for something. And you'll notice it. And then that gathers momentum, raises your vibration, gathers momentum with the law of attraction. And pretty soon you're creating a completely different outcome. Whereas when you have the quote unquote lazy mind and don't choose to interact with the laws, we often fall into being a victim, staying stuck because we have the same thoughts, the same actions, the same reactions. So the same energy is coming back, which leads to the same thoughts and the same action. And that is literally a looping pattern. So break free by shaking up the energy. Shake up the energy, start doing things differently, start looking at things differently, start looking at those beliefs that you have on repeat. I'll never what, I always what, and look at them. And start to dismantle them. Every time somebody goes through the work with me in mentorship or whatever, maybe not every single person has said this directly, but there's always this thought of like, it wasn't as hard as I thought. And I'm also so glad I did. Because once you start shifting your vibration, start shifting your mindset, the way you think and see things, your life changes. As Wayne Dyer says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So it's really like the most important thing you could be doing is really paying attention to this life experience, focusing and choosing where you put your focus, where you put your money, where you put your intention, where you put your mind, right? Where do you put your energy? That is so important here. So realizing it's so much bigger than just this life experience. You came here to create, to remember more of this information, to be all old soul-y and transform and help the world and pass on the wisdom and knowledge you've learned. And you're really here for a magical life. So dive into the part of you that is that energetic part that can work with the energies around you, but also honoring, as I say, the mind part of you. Look at the brain as a computer, as a filtering system, almost like a separate thing. Like, oh, that's just my brain doing its brain thing. And I say that all the time to clients. Like, your brain left unhinged, uncaged, unmonitored, it's going to react. And it's like, did you see what she did? And this means this about you. And you shouldn't do that. And you should do that. And it's flailing around. It's always got a reaction. We don't need to be a victim of that. We don't need to flail around like a flaily inflatable tube man. We don't need to do that with every little whim and reaction that our brain has. We can learn to be a master of our experience. That's what I'm here for. I know that's what you're here for. Even if you're just remembering and realizing that now, this is what you are here for, is to master this type of stuff. So I'm really happy that you listened to this podcast. Remember, you can change anything at any time. You are an unlimited being, child of the universe. You are in charge. You are the deliberate creator, and it's all within you. So if this stuff interests you, please watch out for a new program where we're really looking at shifting reality with very potent core tools where we're going to talk about this stuff, how to live what I call a miracle mindset. It has been something rapidly changing my life. The rapid embodiment technique I've taught a little bit, but I'm now going through it one-on-one with some clients, and it is next level. So if you are interested in this, trust me, it's coming soon. More episodes. I'm going to have a free masterclass on the mindset of manifestation because it is really important to work with this part of you and know that you can create anything that you desire. Okay, Seeker, I love you so much. Thank you for listening to my Jammin' on the Universe episode. And I hope you got something out of this. If you did, come find me on Instagram. Let me know, because especially these topics, there's definitely this voice inside going like, is this way too much for everybody? But you guys are knee deep. Like, we signed up for this experience together. I know it's not too much. You're a deep soul. So I would love to hear if this is stuff you love hearing about, the laws of the universe, being a soul, the soul journey, how to master this experience, and of course, how to manifest using this beautiful mind we have. Okay, love, I'd love to hear. Find me on Instagram at Talia Joy Manifestation, and I'll see you in the next episode. Hey, thank you for listening to this episode. It truly means a lot, and I really, really hope that it served you. I invite you to check out the show notes. There's all sorts of action down there, including the Awakening Her daily practice, which is a beautiful daily practice to process your emotions and manifest what it is that you want. In the show notes, you'll also find the Awakening Her Manifesting Apparel store, how to reach me on Instagram and Facebook, as well as some one-to-one opportunities. So make sure to check that out, and I'll see you in the next episode.